Well, it's something we don't tend to think about as we bundle up in our down jackets. Were the feathers in it plucked humanely?
Well, despite renewed efforts by the outdoor industry to trace the supply chain, one cruel practice continues. KPIX 5's Susie Steimle has our original report. Susie?
Ken and Liz, let's start with a disclaimer for this story. Some of the video in this story is difficult to watch, but it's important if you want to know where your down comes from. Tags claiming responsible down are flooding the market, from jackets to comforters, all claiming to be ethically sourced. But we wanted to know, can you trust the tag? John Metzer's duck and goose hatchery in the Central Valley sells hatchlings all over the country.
We have 17 different breeds of ducks and 15 different breeds of geese.
Half will become ornamental pets in gardens. The other half are destined for the meat industry. In the U.S., after slaughter, the bird's down is collected as a byproduct and sold to the bedding and outdoor industry. But in China, where 80% of the world's down comes from, it's often a different story. A painful practice called live plucking is unregulated there. That's when ducks and geese are plucked while still alive multiple times to maximize profit.
We decided to do our own research and realized that, yes, there were some potential issues in our supply chain and we wanted to address those.
James Rogers is Sustainability Director for the North Face, the company that came out with the first ethically sourced down standard in 2014 called the Responsible Down Standard. Through inspections and audits, the RDS traces down from farm to factory to retail store to make sure it's not coming from ducks or geese that were live plucked or force-fed. The RDS label is now on everything from pillows and bedding to sleeping bags and jackets. But critics will say actually tracking the down through the supply chain to prove that it's ethically sourced is nearly impossible.
Well, ethical down really is a unicorn.
Lindsay Dadko is with People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, or PETA. PETA conducted a follow-up undercover investigation of the down industry in China in 2016, several years after the rollout of RDS.
Unfortunately, eyewitnesses have gone into farms that are linked to facilities that are responsible down standard certified, where live plucking is still occurring.
She says the standard, though well-intentioned, has major flaws. Inspections are only once a year and announced in advance, and parent farms are not included.
Parent farms are the place where birds are being bred to create, the next generation of animals to be exploited. And so the animals there are living a lot longer, and so that's a very common place for live plucking to take place.
So in these parent farms, it is true that the risk of live plucking is higher.
Ashley Gill is with Textile Exchange, a global nonprofit that worked with North Face to develop the RDS standard and now owns it.
The standard is looking at introducing confirmation visits, and the standard is revised on a regular basis. We're in the middle of a revision right now.
In the meantime, she hopes consumers will continue supporting the label. But some retailers say they are already seeing consumers turning to alternatives.
Just going to be a 600 fill down. Compared to this is our featherless.
At Marmot, Associate Manager of Sustainability Stephanie Domagen says their featherless line now makes up 60% of sales.
It has other added benefits. It's 75% recycled and can retain warmth while wet, which is something that down cannot do.
Ethical down or no down, animal activists and big corporations agree the new standards are a start, and millions of birds have been spared from cruelty because of these standards. But you still can't take too much comfort in the label.
There's nothing that's 100%. You have to have the faith and optimism that they're trying to do a good job.
So all of the companies that we talked to for this story still say down is the warmest option out there for the harshest conditions. It's also worth noting that Patagonia has stricter standards known as the Global Traceable Down Standard, or GTDS. It includes unannounced inspections and auditing of parent farms, but only Patagonia is using this standard, so that reaches fewer suppliers and farms.
Like the gentleman just said at the end there, you still, it comes down to you have to have trust. Mm-hmm. I think consumers want more than trust now. They want verifiable products. They want to know.
Absolutely. Well, and that's why they're seeing a lot of people are buying synthetic, because they don't trust this label. They don't know for sure.
people who like this label say it's a good thing. They say they're doing their best, but it's hard for them to know.
Especially when you see that video. I'm sure a lot of people out there
yeah.
seeing that didn't know that that's how they retrieve the feathers. It's awful.
It's hard to watch.
Yeah. Thank you, Susie.